On today's show, Alperen Sengun's MVP level performance was not enough as the Rockets fall in a double overtime thriller against the defending champion OKC Thunder on the opening night of the NBA season. And where was Kevin Durant as the closer in this game? It's all coming up right here at Locked On Rockets.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. As always, I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, native Houstonian and credentialed media member. I'm also the host of Locked On NBA Fridays. Be sure to follow along wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets, where the best way you can help us grow our show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform of your choosing, and then like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down the Rockets' 125-124 loss to the Thunder on the opening night of the NBA season. Alperen Sengun's MVP level performance, star-studded shot making, career high three-pointers, all of that from him, putting the team on his back and trying to drag them to the win. Kevin Durant struggling to find a way to make an impact in crunch time of this game against the Thunder. We'll talk about what happened there and so much more on today's show. First, want to thank you so much for making Locked On Rockets part of your day every single day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you so much for being one of our amazing everydayers. And joining us now to break down the Houston Rockets' painful, heartbreaking loss in the double overtime thriller against the defending champion OKC Thunder is none other than your weekly co-host, NBA draft enthusiast, and diehard Houston Rockets fan, maybe slightly dejected Houston Rockets fan right now, Madison Moore. You can track down on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. And Madison, this was just as a basketball fan, this game was incredible. This was a hell of a start to the NBA season. Mm-hmm. It felt like a heavyweight prize fight between these two teams, just throwing like blow after blow, back and forth and back and forth. And it, I mean, on the surface, it felt like to me like a Western Conference Finals preview, being completely honest. That's what it felt like. And, you know, neither of these teams were at full strength. No J-Dub for the Thunder. Obviously, no Fred VanVleet or Dorian Finney-Smith for the Rockets. Rockets even lost Amen Thompson at the end of the game. He started cramping up and just couldn't hang. He was posted up at the scorer's table trying to check back in. This was a hell of a start to the season. I know we would have liked to see a win here, but and we're going to get into some of the specifics and, you know, why it felt like they lost this game, some of the problems from this one. But just give me your immediate reaction to this game, dude.
My immediate reaction is I'm pissed, Jackson.
You're so pissed you knocking your camera over.
Yeah, man, my camera just started tweaking. Yo, hey, this was an incredible first night of the NBA. Not just for all NBA fans, but also for Rockets fans. I mean, we just, as the Rockets, went toe-to-toe with the NBA champions, and it was, like you said, a heavyweight fight, man. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It looks like the Rockets are very much on the same level as the Oklahoma City Thunder. It looks like we are truly a contender. I mean, there won't be hard. I don't know if there will be another more hard-fought game that the Rockets will play during the regular season this season than that type of game. I mean, full playoff atmosphere from all down the wire, physicality. You know, it had the works, right? And the Rockets had a lot of issues. They struggled offensively. They had some struggles even defensively. And they had some struggles getting in and out of their offensive sets. A lot of room for improvement. And I think they played not just the best team in the league, but the way that Oklahoma City is built is they're built with their physicality defensively. And I think with the Rockets not having a true point guard or initiator, and with some of the weaknesses of our guys in ball handling and ball skills, I thought for the most part, guys held up and we competed. And that is something to be proud of. But I'm pissed, man. We should have won this game. We should have won this game.
They had multiple opportunities to put this game away and to win it. And we're going to talk about those moments and what went wrong in those moments and what needs to change going forward. Don't worry, we're gonna get into the negativity here in a minute and highlight some of the stuff that went sideways in this one. But I do want to point out here, we gotta talk about the dude who put this team on his back in this game, Alperen Sengun, looking like an MVP candidate after game one. I know it's early, but my goodness. I think we're talking about another Alperen Sengun level up here, Madison. 39 points on 12 of 24 shooting, a career high. 5 made threes, 5 of 8 from downtown, was just ripping them like prime Dirk Nowitzki, man. He was going to town. 10 of 11 at the free throw line, had 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, had a block in there, 4 turnovers, but just a dominant performance from Sengun. A far and away team best +9 when he was on the floor, +9 in a 1-point loss. These are Nikola Jokic-esque numbers. And talking about Jokic, he got the Jokic treatment from the OKC defense in this game. He got Alex Caruso posted up on him. The Thunder made the switch at halftime to start Caruso because they wanted to put Caruso on Sengun, and they were just mauling him left and right. He was getting held, he was getting grabbed, pushed around, shoved around. And my goodness, still found a way to be as effective as he was in this game. Just for him and what we saw out of him alone in this one, the dominance, the ability to orchestrate the offense, to get to his own spots out there. Some of the defensive plays we even saw from him occasionally when he had the juice to do it defensively, because he did look gassed at certain points on defense too. This was no less than an MVP caliber performance from Alperen Sengun. These were 2 MVPs going head to head in Sengun and SGA.
Yeah, man. I think, the breakout is here, bro. The leap is here. The Rockets fans, when we started this journey, our goal was to get a homegrown superstar. And I want everybody to recognize that's what Alperen Sengun is growing into right now. I mean, for God's sake, Kevin Durant was deferring to Alperen Sengun tonight.
Yeah.
Alperen Sengun was just on one. And the way they packed the paint on him and he made them pay with his 3-point jump shot. We talked about what it takes for Alperen Sengun to be a superstar. What are the things that we need from him, right? And he's just doing it right before our eyes, man. Incredible performance from Alperen Sengun. Several clutch buckets down the stretch of this game in the fourth quarter, in OT, and in double OT. Time and time again, when we needed Alperen Sengun the most, he came through for us tonight. And that's more than we can say about somebody else on this team, and we'll get to that later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Kevin Durant and the mixed bag of his official Rockets debut against the Thunder, as well as we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty from this game, some of the key moments, the key inflection points of this one. It was a jam-packed game, a double overtime thriller on opening night. What a way to start the season. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you are in the game. It's so simple, so easy. You can make your lineup in under a minute, and they've got so many different promotions and ways to juice up your lineup. So many different ways to add more action to the fun. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Today's episode is also brought to you by Built. Look, nobody likes paying rent, but if you have to do it, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and so much more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. Built is awesome because it's a way to make your rent finally work for you. You're earning points every month on something that you already have to pay. So turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. That's joinbuilt, joinbilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure to use that link so that they know that we sent you. And continuing on here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, Madison. They had so many chances to win this game, man. and the very first one comes at the end of regulation. A regulation period where it really didn't feel like the guy that was brought in to be the go-to bucket getter in crunch time, to be the closer, really wasn't operating like the closer, and yet the Rockets were still in prime position to be able to win this game. Kevin Durant gets sent to the free throw line with a chance to put them up 3, give them ample breathing room at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of regulation, and goes 1 for 2 at the free throw line. KD, a career like 90% free throw shooter, goes 1 for 2 at the line at the end of the game, and allows the opportunity for the Thunder, allows for SGA to come back down on the other end and, pop a midi, tie things up, force OT. This game felt very, look, I'm not going to pretend to know KD's entire body of work. This did not feel like the KD that we thought we were going to be getting in a Rockets jersey, the KD that was supposed to be able to take over and be guaranteed buckets at the end of a game. Don't know if it was the physicality of the OKC defense. Don't know if it was him just trying to defer and empower Alperen Sengun and let him be the guy. I don't know what it was, but this was not what I thought we would be getting out of KD.
Yeah, I say KD's first game as a Rocket was disappointing, to say the least. I think the physicality really has historically bothered Kevin Durant. But tonight, I thought it bothered him in a whole nother way. I thought it took him out of the game offensively for large stretches, right? And, some people would say, hey, we weren't looking. We didn't draw up creative enough sets to get Kevin Durant involved. Well, this team doesn't have a point guard. Alperen Sengun is literally dribbling the ball up the court because this is point guard by committee. And Kevin Durant's inability to participate in that, there was often times where we just needed Kevin Durant to bring the ball up, and I thought he shied away from it. It's these are the things that you have to pitch in when we're doing this by committee. And I thought I learned a lot about Kevin Durant's weaknesses today. You know what I mean? And if he's not perfectly set up, he really gets into these situations. The physicality, not allowing him to dribble the ball up, the physicality really, I thought, hurt him tonight. His inability to properly seal Luguentz Dort, right? There was a Reed Shepherd turnover down the stretch of the game, but this was actually happening all game during the dribble handoffs. These guys are being playoff level physicality. Those simple actions that you typically use to get guys open, they're not happening anymore, right? When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is making his plays, he's getting you at the top of the key. He may get one screen, but he's the primary ball handling, because all that dribble handoff, all of those initiating, once you get past the half court, the defenses are locked in on that. And you have to have this other portion of the game where you are able to bring the ball up and create a bucket or create a play for someone else to get other guys involved or to get your own shot. Kevin Durant struggled in the first half of this game, just kicking it out to shooters, just simple kickouts to shooters when he got double and triple. These things, to me, are uncharacteristic of Kevin Durant and the resume he has given over the course of his career. So I'm sure there will be course corrected, but we're still excited to have Kevin Durant. We can't wait till he gets settled and understands what he needs to do. But I think this team was specifically able, or what's the word I'm looking for? Their physicality, the way they play physical defense, is a particularly bad matchup for Kevin Durant. It really is. And so I think we saw the worst of Kevin Durant because he played probably one of the worst matchups he'll see all season.
Which is crazy to say that we saw the worst of Kevin Durant. He still put up 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting. Like, that's kind of the nuts thing. Is like, that's the bar for excellence for KD is so high that when he puts up what would still be considered a fantastic night for most other players, like you're just like, oh, but it left a little bit to be desired, right? Or like, oh, the 4 turnovers or the these moments here and there, or not being able to deliver, in crunch time. And he still had good, like, man, I don't know why we didn't see more 2-man game between KD and Sengun. Like that was so perplexing to me. And just, you would think that those two guys, the way they complement each other, like there was that pick and roll that they ran near the end of, I forget which one it was, which OT it was. It's all kind of blurring together. But like, honestly, you ran that action at the top of the key, and KD was able to get the little pocket pass into Alp. He was right there in the middle of the floor, got to the rim. Like those moments, it feels like that should be maybe not fully the bread and butter of the Rockets offense, but those actions between those two guys need to be a lot more prevalent, and more consistent throughout the evening to give the Rockets some consistent, easier offense and to make life easier on both of those guys. Cause you're right. All of the little DHOs for KD around like little Adam screens or dancing around with, Reed Shepherd and KD trying to get the switch onto get Lou Dort off of him or whatever. Like, it felt like they had so many wasted possessions trying to, really ineffectively and inefficiently getting the ball to KD. He also didn't hit a single 3-pointer. Like, the team as a whole was awful from beyond the arc. Unless your name was Alperen Sengun, you shot really poorly in this game. And that's going to be an issue that we discover, right? Amen Thompson, 0 for 7. KD 0 for 4. That's probably not going to happen quite as often, but we also know that KD is not a high volume 3-point shooter, right? So you can't rely on Alperen Sengun putting up a career high from 3 every single game. Or maybe he can. Maybe he's just a sniper now. That'd be awesome. But realistically, this team needs to be able to shoot the ball a little bit better from the perimeter. They had so many early possessions, especially in the first half, I felt like, where they did have, they executed, they had good offense, but then it found the ball would find its way into the hands of Amen Thompson in the corner as the open shooter. And it's like, that's a win for the defense, unfortunately. So, finding ways to get away from Amen Thompson being like your release valve as the shooter on offense would be a big thing. Getting more of those actions between KD and Sengun. And look, I do think, it's game 1. And I know that, like, again, we're salty about it. We wanted this win. It would have been fantastic to talk about a win and spoiling banner night for OKC. But this team is going to need time to settle into what they are, is settling into their identity. And you alluded to it already in segment 1, but like especially this matchup against a team that is as handsy and aggressive and physical as the Thunder, it really exposed the weakness that the Rockets have, not having that primary dedicated ball handler, somebody that looks really comfortable running sets, taking care of the basketball, making sure that guys can be put in spots to be successful. Because unfortunately, that isn't who KD is, right? He's never been that guy in his career. He can handle occasionally, and he'll, you put the ball in his hands and let him, get to his ISO bag or whatever. But KD's not generally a guy that you're going to be running the offense through a ton. That's never been him in his entire career, which is why maybe it was a little frustrating when he wasn't, when he didn't really feel like the onus was being put on him to, hey, like, take over the game late. Hey, we need the ball in your hands, because maybe, he was still operating under this idea of like, oh, well, I'm going to come out of the corner. I'm going to curl off a screen and get the, catch the ball at the elbow. And it's like, man, nobody can throw you the pass at the elbow right now. Yeah. You got to come get this. Like there was that one possession at the end of, I think it was the first OT maybe, where Jabari had gotten the defensive rebound, walked the ball up the floor with about, like, it was like less than 20 seconds to go, and he picked up his dribble. And man, I swear, it's like the OKC defense, they're like piranhas. Or they just, the moment you pick up your dribble, they just swarm you. And then it's hands, they're slapping at the ball. And as soon as Jabari picked up his dribble, Reed tried, and like Sengun was trying to find an A, Sengun wasn't even out there because it was a defensive possession. It was like, I don't know, it was a whole thing. And then KD was just sitting off in the corner, just minding his own business. And I'm like, dude, you're KD, like, go get the ball and then like try and put a shot up, man. It was, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be a settling in period, right, where these guys get adjusted, where KD gets settled in, and KD and Sengun and Amen all learn how to play off of one another. This was a really promising, really encouraging first game. The fact that there was so much that did kind of go sideways that can be improved upon, and they were still right there with OKC at the very end after 2 OT periods. But And not to mention, man, just the Chris Webber moment, man, that was crazy.
Oh, my God. Lord have mercy.
So for those of you that don't, like, if you were paying attention on the broadcast, right, Kevin Durant got the rebound at the end of the first OT, and it was a few seconds left on the clock, and he tried to call timeout. And you can't do that when you don't have timeouts because that's a technical foul. And I was watching, and I was freaking out because I was like, no, you're going to give them the tech. Like, they're going to win this on a free throw. And credit to the refs, man, because they could have gone back and done some really messed up. They could have been like, "Hey,
they could have."
I mean, yeah, the refs have to actually acknowledge the timeout. But also, shout out to Alperen Sengun, who literally kind of did everything for this team that night. Even the awareness to go to KD and be like, "Bro, we don't have a timeout. Stop! What are you doing?"
Yeah, man. Kevin, man, that was a roller coaster you put Rockets fans through on the first night, but we still believe in you, dog. We're still happy to have you, man. We know it's 1 of 82, and it's gonna be much better games to come. But,
oh man,
yeah, man. Definitely got a good understanding though of like some of KD's weaknesses, and I think when they go back to film, there'll be a lot to improve on, and I think the Rockets will be just fine because honestly, we were leading the entire game. Like the Rockets were firmly in control of this game. Like they were winning this game.
Thunder didn't retake the lead until what, a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter on that SGA bucket. And the Rockets had led from the midway point of the second quarter. Like they were, it wasn't like a wire to wire, control of the game kind of thing. But it very much felt like there were so many moments where they shot themselves in the foot. They had chances. They had the KD free throw. Maybe you look at they could have drawn up a better play at the end of regulation than whatever that BS was that LP got stuck with, where he turned around and tried to throw up a prayer at the rim. That was I'm not even going to hold that one against LP. That was just a bad draw for an inbounds play. Like you've got KD, you've got Amen Thompson, you've got weapons. I was thinking we were going to get like a little like double drag screen action to try to free up KD on the perimeter and then have Amen Thompson roll towards the rim. And then you could, if he's free, throw the backdoor lob to Amen at the rim. If KD's free, get it out to him and let him, take a one dribble pull up, something like that. There's going to be a lot for Ime to work on too for the offense, right? Because there were sticky spots with the offense, and a lot of this is going to be a work in progress, but still a very encouraging game one. Coming up, we want to get into our final thoughts from this game, other areas that we noticed. We do need to talk about Tari Eason's play in this one a little bit. And some of the other positives, though, from this one, like Jabari Smith Jr., who looked really great in his minutes out there. Amen Thompson looked great until he started cramping up there at the end. A lot more to get to, and we're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Rougiette. Look, let's be honest. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. Maybe you say it's just stress, or I'm too tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it so easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your doorstep. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. Visit Rougiette.com. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 50% off your first order. That's Rougiette.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so that they know that we sent you. Rougiette. Stop making excuses and start making moves. And final segment here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, Madison, I do want to do one more here before we move on to anybody else new. I will say that the fact that like the Rockets not only fouled out, like they fouled out both of the OKC bigs in this game. Like that's the kind of game this was. Like just the way that Alperen Sengun was drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line, the way that Steven Adams was drawing fouls down low as that offensive rebounding force walked away with 13 boards in this game, 5 of them on the offensive glass. Adams didn't have like a huge scoring impact, but you felt his gravity out there for a ton of the minutes that he was out there for. The Rockets wound up winning those minutes. They won the rebounding battle 51-39. So they did kind of crush OKC on the glass. The other thing that stood out was the free throws, man. Like the Rockets were not They were a bottom 5 free throw team, or actually it might have been dead last in the NBA in free throw frequency last year. I'm going completely off memory. I apologize, but they had 31 free throw attempts in this game, and they made 27 out of those 31. They didn't hit the one that they needed to, but like I was impressed with how frequently they were getting to the line. They were taking the physicality of the Thunder and at times kind of using it against them, which I think kind of worked out. Like, as packed as the paint was, sometimes they were just crashing bodies and just getting in there and drawing fouls and just getting to the free throw line, because that was the best kind of offense that you could generate. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the Rockets did a good job all around this whole game. I think one of the, just if I was to talk about also one of the team things that just needs to get better is just the connective passing. I feel like that was something I just wanted to make sure I spoke about, because there was just times where because the Rockets are running a double big and Steven Adams is causing so much attention, the Thunder was able to really pack the paint. And when they got kickouts, that first rotation guys are typically there, but the second and third, the hockey is the moving it around the wire. The Rockets just need to get a little bit better at that, and I think that'll really help them. And like you said, I think we're going to go to the line if Steven Adams is out there. I mean, Hartenstein he found every defensive rebound, almost every.
Dude, I mean, every single possession, Steven Adams' jersey kept getting untucked. Like you saw Steven Adams with his jersey untucked for 90% of the game. That's because literally every trip down, he's getting guys grabbing him, holding him, grabbing the jersey, trying to do anything they can to get a little bit of a competitive edge. And look, you hat tip to the Thunder. They are a historic defense. They're a dominant defense, but they also foul like crazy. Yeah. Like, that's the thing, is they get away with so much contact. You would see so many of those replays and those moments with Sengun, like waving his arms, like look at my arms, like Chet's grabbed me, he's holding me. Just as a side note, Chet Holmgren cannot guard Alperen Sengun one-on-one. Like not a chance in hell. And Chet himself had a fantastic game. We'll give credit where credit's due. Chet was on fire to start this game. And actually, this thing would have looked like a very ugly blowout early on had Chet Holmgren not just been on fire for the entire first quarter and a little, top of the second. He had 18 points in about, 10 minutes of run early in the game, just sinking everything. He was perfect, 7 of 7 from the floor at one point. So he kind of kept them in the game while SGA was super quiet in the first half, only 5 first half points. The Rockets defense on SGA in the first half felt really solid, but as the game progressed, as it wore on, I think that the Rockets bigs, which that was Ime's strategy, was whenever Shea called for a pick and roll, he was having the big stunt out on SGA and kind of trap him, whether it was Sengun, Adams, Capela, whoever. And he was basically saying, I'm going to let anybody other than SGA beat me in this game. And it worked for a majority of the game. But then you got towards the end of the game where the bigs started, guys were a step slower, the game had worn on, the physicality of the game started to catch up to the guys out there. And that's when SGA was able to really start manipulating the Rockets defense, getting to his spots on the floor. And frankly, it didn't help that they flat out lost Amen Thompson. We might be talking about a different result in this game if Amen Thompson had been able to stay out there, stay healthy. I haven't seen anything about, what's going on with him, other than I think he was just cramping. Same kind of cramps that he dealt with in the playoffs in Game 7 against Steph Curry. So unfortunately in this one, he was trying to flex it out, at the scorer's table, couldn't quite get to a point where you could check back in. And that meant, going back to, in certain situations at the end of the game in second overtime, going back to Tari Eason, a guy who did not have one of his better games as a member of the Rockets. This was a really rough watch for Tari Eason, unfortunately. He made a lot of mistakes, and about the one good thing that he did was the block at the very end on SGA, right? And that was about the one good thing, was that block at the end of the first OT, and then Kevin almost called the timeout that he shouldn't have. But outside of that, man, it was really tough to watch Tari Eason. It felt like he was pressing, man, like all game.
He looked honestly unplayable. That was the worst game I ever saw Tari Eason play. And I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to get back to his roots, and that's defense. Okay.
Even defensively, he was gambling. Like, he was doing some undisciplined things. Like,
and that's been one of the knocks on Tari's defense, is that he gets a lot of home run plays, but he's also very undisciplined. He also goes for a lot of things. And when you get to this caliber of game, right? This is a playoff level game that we just played, right? You have to be able to kind of fill out that game and understand what your team needs and become impactful. Impactful doesn't mean, hey, grab the ball and try and make an offensive play. You have to stay within the bounds of your game, right? And you let the game come to you. And that is what Tari Eason did not do, is let the game come to him. And the team really needed another just stopper, right? Somebody who you can throw on SGA and we can trust him to play solid defense, make things tough on him. He is probably the only other wing defender we have right now who could actually do that.
Can I give a little shout out to Josh Okogie? I actually thought Josh Okogie had some solid minutes. Like the minutes that Josh was out there, like there were some points where Ime went back to Tari for like a certain defensive play, and I kept thinking to myself, I was like, no man, put Josh out there. Like Josh was fighting over screens, he was sticking to SGA, like he was doing all the little things that you need to do to make a star like SGA feel uncomfortable. And that's you could see in this game in particular why the Rockets felt that they wanted to go get a Josh Okogie, because having a point of attack guy like that you can stick out there to help supplement the Rockets defense. Because you're right, you can't just expect Amen Thompson to do it all, and they didn't even do that. Right, there were plenty of possessions where Amen was out there and SGA was out there, and Amen wasn't the primary on SGA because they knew you can't ask Amen to do so much offensively and everything on the defensive end. But that's going to be something they have to find like the balance with, right? And that's why, DFS, where you at, man? Like get back healthy soon, because
I'm just saying this is Tari Eason's opportunity to show coaches he belongs on the floor during these times. I mean, Amen Thompson is out of the game and Tari is not in the game right. You know what I mean? Down the stretch. Josh Okogie played crunch time minutes over Tari Eason just because he understands what the team needs from him in that moment, and he played that role, right? And he let the game come to himself, and he let his defense ignite his offense, right? And that's something that Tari used to do all the time as a rookie. And I really think it has served him well. I know, Tari, you've put in a lot of work this offseason. You've worked on your ball skills, all those things, but you still have to play within the confines of the team. And you also understand what this team needs from you, and that this team needed another guy, versatile defender that they could put on SGA, another guy who could be a free safety in that zone and make plays, get defensive steals. And it just felt like the Rockets really never got going in turning OKC over. You know what I mean? We never really got going in the fast break because we could not turn OKC over, right? OKC just missed a ton of open threes. You know what I mean? And so, Tari, I'm sure will go back to the film. He'll understand what he needs to do, and he'll come back better, of course. But yeah, it was just very disappointing. We really could have used Tari down the stretch of this game.
Do you want to guess off the top of your head how many fast break points the Rockets had in this game?
Ooh, I really don't even remember them running in transition at all. And
because they basically didn't. They only had 2 fast break points in this game. They basically not at all, right? And so you look at some of the team stats, right? Rockets turned the ball over 24 times. OKC scored 26 points off of those 24 turnovers. Rockets managed to turn OKC over 12 times, and they scored 12 points off of those 12 turnovers. But OKC won the fast break battle 16-2. Like that hurts. And even losing that fast break battle, though, right? Rockets were right there. They had their chances. They won at the free throw line. They won the rebounding battle. They actually won the 3-point shooting battle too, because OKC did an awful job shooting the 3-ball in this game, held them to just 25%, 13 of 52 from downtown. Meanwhile, the Rockets were slightly better than that, not by much, but 11 of 39. So 28.2% from downtown for the Rockets. And again, Alperen Sengun hitting half of those 3-pointers by himself, 5 of 8. The rest of the team, what's that quick math? So Alp was 5 of 8. The rest of the team was 6 of 31 from 3. Again, there's not even many games where KD goes 0-4, where even Amen, who's not known as the 3-point shooter, he's not going to probably go 0-7 again. Even Reed, I will say Reed. I want to give a second to Reed, just because cautiously, like the offense was good, process was solid, 4 assists, 9 points, like was aggressive, looking for his shot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look in the camera and I say this. Am I allowed to talk about Reed's defense again, guys, or is it too soon yet? Because I'm sorry, man. Like this was one of those games where it was like that. This is the worry, right? Is when Reed was out there, he was getting picked on by SGA. He was getting bullied by Aaron Wiggins, like on drives, just straight line drives to the rim. Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, like, if they saw Reed Shepherd in front of him, it was kind of like barbecue chicken. And like, yeah, he had like a couple plays with like a good like slap down or like a recovery block from behind or whatever. But people get caught up in those plays and like, oh my God, Reed's a great. And it's like, well, he needs to keep his guy in front of him. He needs to learn how to wall off. He needs to not get bulldozed over. Like when guys go straight line drive at him at the rim. There was one play where KD had to help in off the corner on a transition drive where Reed was supposed to pick up his man in transition. I don't even know who it was that was driving the ball in. And Reed didn't stop the ball, kept ceding ground, and then KD had to peel off the man in the corner to help out at the rim. And then it was a kick out pass to the corner for an open 3-pointer. And I'm like, dude, like these moments are killers, right? And even maybe more so than just the table setting, the floor general stuff that you miss from Fred VanVleet. You miss Fred's defense, man. Fred's not a slouch on defense. Fred does not get bullied on defense. Fred is a man on defense. Like Fred,
he's a plus defender, bro.
Yes,
and he knows how to get around screens. I mean, we need to get Reed in there. He needs to have better anticipation. I mean, I know his foot speed is only but so much, but also he has to get up under guys and use his physicality to slow guys down. Right, he has to become a more physical defender on these drives. That's the only way he's going to be able to make up for his lack of foot speed and lateral quickness.
Some of it's just going to be reps, right? Like he just needs the time, he needs the reps. He's going to get plenty of it. There was a lot to like about his impact in this game for sure. I feel like for Jabari in this one, just really quickly here as we're kind of round and third heading home. 16 points, 7 of 15 shooting for Jabari. I liked a lot of the shots that he was getting. Even I was impressed with some of the times where he put the ball on the floor, right? Even against a defense, like I feel like if Jabari tried to put the ball on the floor last season against OKC, he would have walked out of this game with 3+ turnovers, 4+ turnovers, whatever. Didn't turn the ball over once. In fact, he had that one play where, end of a shot clock possession, had to take like a rush kind of dribble, pull up over like 2 sets of hands, contest, looked a little KD-esque on that shot. I'm not going to lie. And so I liked a lot of what we saw out of Jabari in this game. And even Amen Thompson, as much as he struggled to shoot the ball from the perimeter, he was 8 of 10 inside the arc. He had a lot of drives where he just realized that he was bigger and stronger than the OKC guards. And that's where the Rockets, I don't think they leaned into being the bigger, stronger team enough against a smaller, weaker team, in part because they let the fouling and the physicality kind of get to their heads a little bit, I think. But you saw it as the game kind of went on, like some of those possessions late in the game, Sengun started to really just like take it to Caruso because he's like, you're too small to guard me. Yeah. And they didn't get to enough of that early on. Hell, there was even that one play where like Ime called it from the sideline and they ran an action to get Jabari on like a little seal on SGA right under the rim late in the game. And Alp just hit him with a pass over the top and he just turned around and like dropped the ball in the hoop because SGA couldn't stop him. He's too big. And like, where's some of that? Like they need to lean further into the mismatches, the size, the physicality that they have, not just the scrappy little like Taco Bell Chihuahua physicality that the Thunder have.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought Jabari had a pretty solid game. We need more of that from Jabari. Decision making still needs to, especially in passing game. You know what I mean? Even when he, picked the ball up, there's still some little areas, but you can tell he's really improved. You can tell and even the end of regulation double OT shot that he got, I thought he had a real chance of making that because of his size and, that turnover.
Hell, we've seen him hit shots like that before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so all-around solid game from Jabari. I thought he was really good. I thought he had some tough matchups. He's now playing at the top of the zone. And so, a couple times he was matched up on SGA, which is just, I thought he did what he was actually capable of doing. But at some point, your foot speed, he's a 7-footer out there guarding a wing, you know what I mean? And that stuff is kind of hard, but I thought he kept guys in front of him, and he once again was a factor for this team. So really solid game from Jabari.
Honestly, all things considered, it was emotional. It was a roller coaster. It was a thrilling game. Not the result that we would have liked to see to start out the season. However, encouraging things all around from this one. The MVP level play from Sengun. KD still settling in, understanding where he can be effective in some of the, with some of these lineups with his teammates, figuring out his role on this team. His role is to hit shots, dude. Just like go out there and just get buckets. That's all you got to do. Just get some buckets at the end of the shot clock. But with that, we want your thoughts, your takeaways from the first game of this Houston Rockets season. Give us your reactions to the game against the OKC Thunder in the YouTube comments. Madison, you know the drill. Let everyone know where to track you down at.
You can find me on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. Come talk Rockets basketball and NBA draft.
That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Rockets. As always, thanks so much for checking out the show. Remember, the best way to help us grow the show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform of your choosing, and then like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to having you back right here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball.